Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I am Maria and this is Floyd, who will not move. Today I teamed up with a group of fantastic female YouTubers and we are all going to do our Galentine's Day video, which is going to be our 5 favorite romantic movies. In case you don't have plans, in case you're gonna go out with your friends or you're just gonna chill in and hang out with your cat, we're all gonna give you romantic movie suggestions so you can get into the spirit of this lovey-dovey holiday. Now these are my 5 favorite romantic movies. They're not in any particular order, so I thought I could just suggest them to you depending on the kind of mood that you're in to watch those movies. So let's get started. I have a really soft spot in my heart for these sort of romantic, impossible loves that you know are not meant to be the person you end up with, but there's just it just becomes a much sweeter romance because you know it might have an ending. So for this selection, I picked the movie Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. It doesn't get more impossible of a romance than that of a human being with a machine, in this case an OS that learns as a human being, so it keeps developing and it keeps learning as it goes. And so in a very futuristic, not so distant future, Joaquin Phoenix downloads this OS, who has the voice of Scarlett Johansson, and they kind of fall in love. And I know the movie's supposed to be a critic of our times and how obsessed we are with technology and the digital media, but I think it's also a really good representation of what it's like to be in love with someone who's far away, what it's like to be, you know, online dating. You know, people are still so very apprehensive about it and don't consider certain things a real relationship because you're not in the same place or because you don't have the traditional relationship that everybody knows. But I just love this movie because it's really not about the physical attraction. It's not about having awesome dates or the way you look with this person in real life, you know, which can sometimes make us feel like it's love and it's just infatuation. This movie strips it all down to 2 people, 2 souls communicating and being completely honest with each other, and they just have such tender moments and beautiful conversations that remind you of, you know, when you're in bed with someone talking all night long about, you know, who you are and what are your fears and your dreams. And I just loved it. It's mostly a conversation movie, of course, between these 2. I think the performances are beautiful. I think the romance is sweet, it's innocent and tender, and I think it conveys a real wholesome relationship in comparison to all the rom-coms we see these days that have absolutely no substance. I don't think any of us can really resist a fairy tale kind of romance, and to me there's no better fairy tale romance than that of The Beauty and the Beast. I think it's easily one of my favorite childhood movies and one of my favorite Disney movies. And what I really loved about it is that it was no longer about this sort of silhouette of a Prince Charming who had absolutely no personality, but you know, the girls were supposed to end up with him because he was the only prince or something. This was 2 full-fledged characters. One of them incredibly flawed, the other one very sweet and innocent. Like, that pairing of opposites is something we're all very attracted to, and we see it happening constantly throughout different romantic stories. But I love the one of Beauty and the Beast. It's a little bit dark, it's a little bit sweet and romantic, it's even a little bit funny, and I think it's just such a classic story of falling in love, of being with someone who, again, people think, you know, it's not the right person for you, or, you know, it's wrong because it's not traditional or whatever. There's just such a great flow of energy between them from the very beginning, where they kind of don't like each other, to eventually calling it a truce and eventually falling in love. I absolutely love it, and you know, it's one of those movies that I watch pretty much every 2 months or something like that. I'm a big fan of movies that have a very strong romance, but it's not necessarily labeled as a romance movie. It's just, you know, a very wonderful observation of what a relationship is really like. And I find that to be true of one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You can call this movie a sort of sci-fi movie, you could call it romantic, you can call it drama, but I think what it really shows is the story of 2 people being together, of 2 people breaking up, and what that's really like. It tells the story of a world where if you want, you can have memories erased from your brain. So if you broke up with someone and you just want them completely erased from your life, you can do that. So in this relationship between Joel and Clementine, Clementine decides she doesn't want to remember Joel ever again, and she erased him from his memory. That really hurts him, and he decides to do the same thing. So the movie really is a journey of this process of erasing his memories and how he kind of can see it happening in his head, and you know what it means to be in a relationship, what it means to break up, and kind of realizing that maybe you just don't want to forget this person altogether because they were a huge part of your life and they taught you things and you had great moments with them, and just erasing all of that is like going back so many years of your life that it might not even be worth it. I love how flawed the characters are. I love their weirdness. I love how they just have no clue of how to make this relationship work, but they really love each other. I think it's very real, and I think it's also really bittersweet how you look back at a relationship or someone you loved and you realize, man, I could have done this differently, and I could have paid more attention to this, and I could have done this better. And that sort of sadness of knowing you really can't take it back and you can't change it, but you know, that's all there is. All you have left are memories and that faint, you know, feeling of love that you have for them, and it's better to have it than to just forget it altogether. I think we get too many ridiculous romantic comedies telling us what love is all about, and I'm getting kind of sick and tired of it. So I really appreciate it when a movie comes along and they just show you a modern day romance the way it should be, and in a way that it still shows magic. I hate that people think that love can't be magical, and it really can be. For me, the suggestion for this type of romance is Before Sunset. So the story is like these two youngsters kind of fall in love in one day because their train broke down, they're stuck in a European city, they spend a wonderful day together just talking and getting to know each other, and they decide that they're gonna meet again and leave it up to chance on this particular day, on this particular city, and we'll see what happens. So Before Sunset is the continuation of that 10 years later. So it's been 10 years, they haven't seen each other, they're meeting each other again because he's on a book tour, she just happens to be in the city, that's where she lives, and they spent the entire afternoon talking to each other, catching up, and it's just one of my favorite movies ever. I think dialogue and conversation is such a huge part of a relationship, and these two have such great chemistry. They just know each other so well. They immediately start talking after many years of not seeing each other, and it just, you can feel that there's something between them. You can feel the electricity, you can feel that there's love, and it's sort of the whole thing of, yeah, how good it is to see you, it's been a long time, and eventually like, why did we not meet? Why did we just let our lives pass us by? It's such an organic way of them eventually telling each other, this is how I feel about you. They're just two of my favorite romantic characters. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it, and then you should watch the other two because, man, it's just good material, you know? It's really great. Now for my final suggestion, I think there's no better way to end it than talking about that all-consuming, all-powerful love. And for me, the movie that shows that the best is The Phantom of the Opera. Oh my god, the first time I saw this movie, it just blew me away. I cried. I think I cried for like a week after just thinking about certain moments. The combination of Andrew Lloyd Webber's music, the characters, the Phantom played by Gerard Butler was just too much for my teenager heart to handle. The Phantom of the Opera has sort of that same thing I was talking about, the Beauty and the Beast, where you have the very dark character and the innocent, naive character. There's just something about that combination that is always a winner. But the Phantom is like so mysterious and disturbed and strange, and she's so attracted to this dark world that he represents and the world of music. And again, is that sort of impossible love that, you know, in real life it's just not gonna work, but you can't help the way you feel. It's sort of that classic triangle of the girl having to choose between two boys. Do you pick the one who's daring and mysterious and will show you amazing things, or do you pick the one who's sweet and charming and you can see yourself building a life with? It's just one of those horrible life decisions and you just don't know which way you're gonna go. And I'm making it sound very trivial, but that combined with probably the most amazing music ever created, combined with a character who just, oh my god, he loves her so much. He just absolutely worships her, and it's just, I love that when it's just so intense and all-consuming and wonderful. It's just a whirlwind of emotions. It just makes me feel alive. I know it sounds silly, but it's true. I think deep down we all crave to feel that way about someone and to have someone feel that way about us, you know, that sort of can't live without each other kind of love that I think has kind of been portrayed as stupid or unrealistic in our modern day society. And I understand why. I mean, not everything's going to be like that, but I think you should definitely be with someone who makes you feel just like it's all or nothing. So guys, those are my favorite romantic movies, and I've given you a lot of selections for this Valentine's Day, but please let me know which one are your favorites and leave them in the comments section down below. Don't forget to go check out the other gals videos. I'm going to leave a link to every one of their videos in the description box down below, and also I'm going to show their faces right over here so you know who they are. They're all fantastic. They have wonderful opinions and great taste in movies. So please go subscribe, go check them out. I absolutely adore them. So guys, that's it for my Valentine's Day video. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's. I hope you have fun with your significant other, or if you're just planning a day by yourself, you know, go do that. Treat yourself. That's what it's all about. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more weekly videos and other shenanigans, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!